One topic that I have always been super interested in when it comes to bluelock, and just talking about bluelock overall, is what the best starting 11 would look like. Now we had Ego's version of the bluelock 11 for the U20 game, but a lot of things have happened since then. Characters have gotten stronger, or in some cases weaker, which could really influence a better and newer bluelock 11, which is exactly what I will try and tackle today. As I, with my football knowledge consisting of watching Premier League occasionally, I will take on this challenge and create what I believe would be the best bluelock 11 team for the upcoming U20 World Cup. Anyway, with that out of the way, be sure to grab your favorite snacks and let's get right on with the goalkeeper, which to be honest won't be a shock, as it's of course the wildlife expert Gagamaru Jin. Now let's be real, who else would be there to protect the goal, except for Gagamaru? You could make a case for Fukaku, but we have barely seen anything from him, and what we have seen hasn't been nearly as close to what Gagamaru has shown us in both the U20 game and the Neo-Egoist League. As in the U20 game he made his insane handstands block, and now in the Neo-Egoist League, he tapped into his ultra instincts and saved an insane shot from a new awakened Baru. And since we haven't seen a new Gen 11 goalkeeper yet, I would confidently say that Gagamaru is the best goalkeeper in the series, both due to the fact that he is insanely good, but also as he is like the only goalkeeper alongside Fukaku. So the competition isn't fierce. But yeah, I can't wait till we get to see the new Gen 11 goalkeeper. Alrighty, moving on from the goalkeeper position, we get to the center backs, where it gets a bit tougher. Now, for the center back position, we have 4 candidates, and those are, of course, Aiku, Nico, Ryu, and Raichi. Now before we start to discuss between them, I feel like we can secure one spot for certain, and I'm of course talking about the captain of the previous U20 team, and the acting police officer Oliver Aiku. Now this shouldn't come as a surprise, as Aiku could be considered the best defender we have seen outside of Lorenzo. Aiku's physicality is where he really shines, as it's like his body is made of steel. He has the body to both run around like crazy and stop incoming attackers, but also involve himself in fierce duels. On top of that, he also possesses meta vision, which gives him a crazy boost in the defense, as he can be one step ahead of the attackers. Or if the attackers also has meta vision, he can at least be on an equal footing to them, and won't fall behind. Now who will be partner in crime to Aiku? Well, we have some options, but firstly, I would like to eliminate Raichi. Now Raichi had a great run against Snuffy, as he actually made Snuffy's life into hell in the Ubers game, as he was consistently around him, and just marking him down like crazy. However, with that said, that's the only feat Raichi really have currently, and I feel like both Ryu and Nico has reasons to be chosen over Raichi. But now the question starts to creep in, as we have to choose between them. Now I would say that Ryu is a better physical player, as he's extremely tall and is extremely well trained. This will help them in the physical department, as him and Aiku could team up and take down potential attackers together and stop them in their tracks. Also in corners, Ryu would be a great addition, as he would probably be able to get to the ball first and head away it, which would cause Gagamaru to feel some relief under corners, as he knows that Ryu probably has it covered. Now we then go to Nico, who's like half the size of Ryu. While that might be a over-exaggeration, he's definitely a lot shorter than Ryu. But in his case he offers something else, as we saw in the Ubers game when he faced off against Isagi, that he actually possessed metavision. We also can't forget his watchtower action in the U20 game, as he went pretty nuts there. Anyway, alongside Aiku, who previously stated also has metavision, him and Nico could link up together and try and see the whole field and try and eliminate any danger before it actually arrives. So all it comes down to is if I would rather prioritize physical strength or a more intellectual player who could see the field like Aiku can. And while it would be dope to have Ryu on the pitch, in my opinion, I feel like I kind of have to go with Nico. He just serves such a good link up to Aiku on the other side, and I think that with Aiku's guidance, Nico could become an even more menacing center back. Now I will say that I almost took Ryu due to him having a higher offer in the Neo-Egoist League, which I'm not really sure how he's gotten, as I feel like Nico played better in the match against Bastard Munchin. But anyway, my pick with Nico is standing strong. Hey, it's Natsu, mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? Now moving on to the right and left backs. There's a ton of players I could pick from, as there's so many players who have the ability to play in these spots. But for the first position on the right side, I have chosen my absolute favorite character, so I might be a bit biased. But it's none other than the Princess Chigiri. Now Chigiri serves as more of an offensive right back, as we saw in the U20 match. Now his biggest downfall in the U20 match was that he didn't have the stamina to sprint for the full match. But after training his body to the max with Chris Prince in the Manshine City facility, I feel like he should be fine now. Chigiri would serve as a great right back, as thanks to his speed, he can fast be both in the defensive line and the offensive side at both times. Also, if they are going for a fast counter, then Gagamaru can easily throw the ball over to Chigiri, who will start the counter and catch the opponents off guard. However, due to him being a right back, he won't be able to attack and get shots on the goal, which is a bit unfortunate, especially when he's been showing such great results in the Manshine City matches. But I do think that this is the right spot for him. Now we leave Chigiri and instead go over to the other side, which is of course the left side. Here we have tons to pick from. And to just name a few, we have, for example, Karasu, Zantetsu, Kiora, or Hiyori. Now let's be honest, but we can take away Kiora from the nominated in an instant, as he hasn't shown nearly enough good result for him to end up as a starter. Now it would be cool to see Chigiri on the right side and Zantetsu on the left side. Just imagine that duo. They would honestly be insane, and the attacking power from the backline would be massive with two players who can basically move around extremely fast and freely. However, in my opinion, Zantetsu hasn't shown enough improvements and feats for him to gain a spot in the starting squad, which honestly sucks, as I felt that the author could have done a lot more with him. But then, we have Hiyori and Karasu left. Now Hiyori wouldn't necessarily be a bad choice. If anything, he would be a great choice, as he's been amazing in the recent Neo Egoist League games. And I might just be totally stupid, but with that said, I do pick Karasu over him. In my opinion, even if this squad is like 90% attacking power, we also need some defending power, which is where Karasu shines like a light bulb, as with his analytical mind, and also the recent showings off his meta vision, he could, if trained right, be one of the most annoying defenders in the series, which we have seen some showings of in the PXG game. And with 3 of the defenders having meta vision, I feel like they can coordinate with each other flawlessly, and really work out a strategy which will annihilate any attackers which is coming their way. Now we move on to the last, I would say defending piece of my team, as I have decided to, included a defensive central midfielder. And now this is where I feel like I might make my first blunder off the video, as I haven't decided to go with Hiyori, but instead Rio. Now both are amazing without a doubt, but I feel that Rio has so much potential. His copy weapon is so insanely broken, and if he learned to use it right, and not only use it for the sake of Nagi, I definitely feel like Rio could be a top 5 player in bluelock. But it's just his obsession with Nagi that is holding him back right now. However, I will make a speculating video on the Manshine City versus FC Barca game, where I will admit that I have some crazy predictions in which Rio is heavily involved. But let's talk about his weapon copy. With copy, he becomes such a dangerous defensive midfielder because he can pretty much do everything to almost perfection. There's a ball coming his way. Well, he can just pull out Aiku's snake jump and head it away. Or if he's getting himself into a 1 versus 1, then he can bring out Itoshi Sei's insane dribbling to get behind them. Rio's arsenal is so insanely stacked, and if he just used it to its full potential, he would become truly feared. Now to make a small recap of the defensive side of the team, we have Gagamaru in goal, Nico and Aiku as fierce center backs, Chigiri and Karasu on the sides, and Rio in the middle. Now with that said, we go over to the more attacking-oriented side of the team, and I've decided to include 2 strikers, 2 wingers, and 1 central offensive midfielder, which we will start with. Now how could there be a starting 11 if we don't include the broken striker, who is of course Itoshi Sei? Now do I really have to say anything about this guy? He single-handedly played with the Blue Lock 11 in most of the U20 game, and I will stand by this till I die. But even in the end, Sei didn't go all out, which is why I can comfortably say that he has so much more to offer us. Also, if the strikers and the wingers suddenly start to just play awful, then it won't be that huge of an issue, as Sei, as a former striker, can just take on the role and go and score a couple of goals himself, which he demonstrated in the U20 match, when he told Sendao how awful of a striker he was, and in the end got so annoyed that he decided to just do it himself without breaking a sweat. Which is also my point to why he didn't go all out in the U20 match. He clearly stated multiple times that he played for the team and the U20 players, but I fully believe that if he played with himself in center, then the Blue Lock 11 wouldn't stand a chance. But at the end of the day, that's just what I think as a massive and biased Sei fan. But yeah, let's get back on track, as we kind of got off on a side note right there. With Sei's flawless dribbling and passing abilities, he would be able to coordinate and play with the attackers with no hesitation at all, as he would be on equal footing with them. He could deliver them pinpoint passes that would lead to goals, and I really think that Sei is the most important player for the starting 11. Now I've glazed Sei a bit too much, so let's move on to the right wing, where we find no one else. Then the monster of Blue Lock, Bachira Maguru. In the U20 match, he was placed on the left back position by Ego, and instead Otoya was the one who was placed at the right wing, and I fully agree with that, as at that time, Otoya was a top 6 player. But now in the Neo Egoist League, he's having the craziest fall-off we have seen in a long time, as FC Barca is literally just FC Bachira at this point. Bachira will serve as an amazing right wing, as thanks to firstly his somewhat unpredictable nature, and alongside his godly dribbles, he will have the chance to throw off the defenders with ease, and even if he isn't able to break the ankles off every defender, then he can just send a cross into the box, which is basically why I put him here on the right wing. Even though I would love for Bachira to score as much goals as possible, as he is one of my favorite characters, I just don't think that it's possible for him to have that position right now. My plan with Bachira is that he will throw the balance off the defenders, and when he's gotten behind a couple, he will send the ball into the box, where the strikers will be lying and waiting patiently. But also if Bachira gets bored to play as a side character, then he can just go into his Ginga monster mode and probably just force his way into the box himself and take a shot at the goal. Also, when adding in Bachira, we will also get some morale boost for the squad, as he will always try and boost the mood of everyone and just be a literal energy blast. As you can hear, I just really like Bachira. But moving on, we are going to see who will be joining in on the other wing, and it's none other than the king of bluelock, Baru. Now Baru is a character who can make or break a team, as he isn't going to follow anyone's orders, even if they try and force him to. Also for this spot, it was either him or Shidu, and let's be honest, we have seen how much of a godly combo Shidu and Sei are together, and if I'm honest, then Baru and Shidu could replace each other. But my reason for picking Baru is that even if he isn't going to listen to anyone, I still feel like he will have a bit better synergy with the strikers than what Shidu would have. And on top of that, I would just love to see the combo of Sei and Baru together. They might not be as good as Sei and Shidu, but I'm not fully sure on that either, as something is telling me that they could shock a lot of us. Baru would also work like his counterpartner Bachira, as both of them are pretty unpredictable, and they would just make plays that don't make sense. And I feel like this would throw off the defenders and put them in a state of shock, as they have to rewire their sense of the game and try and input the irregularities that both Baru and Bachira bring. Now also the most important factor is that Baru is an insanely good striker. He's low-key carrying Uber's whole attack, but still, he's just an insane forward. Alongside his predator eyes, he can figure out the best shooting direction, which would lead him to an easy goal. We saw in the match against Bastard Munchin that Gagamaru was struggling to even match up with his shot, and with Baru finding insanely hard and difficult places to shoot from, it only made it even harder for Gagamaru. Now yes, there will be better goalkeepers than Gagamaru in the U20 World Cup arc, but I still feel like they will have a hard time adapting to Baru, not to mention his insanely good build. It isn't the most important factor for a striker to have a good physical build, but in the scenario of someone like Aiku being on the other team, it's good to have someone with the upper body strength to match him and not just get tackled down right away. Now I'm not too sure if Shidu or Baru will end with the highest bid in the Neo Egoist League, but currently, it's Baru who is the highest right now with 1 extra match played. But even if Shidu were to gain a higher offer than Baru, I would still stick to my guns and go with Baru. After that, we will move on to the strikers, and I feel like they are pretty obvious, but we will still go over them one at a time. And let's start with the poster boy of bluelock, Isagi Yoichi. Now there's no way I could make a team without Isagi, as that would just be straight out stupid, as he's the player who's gone the most crazy in the Neo Egoist League and has solidified himself as being on par with the new Gen 11 Michael Kaiser. Isagi is also just a complete demon on the field who will devour anyone who gets in his way. Not to mention how insane Isagi's adaptability abilities are. They are absolutely stupid, and it will help him be able to adapt to any situation the team is facing, also waking up new chemical reactions, which could push the team to even greater heights. To be honest, there isn't that much more I can say about Isagi, as it's kind of a no-brainer to have him on the team. Some people might argue that it would be better to put him somewhere around the midfield, as that's the place that would fit him best. However, in the series, he's clearly said that he isn't going to play anywhere else than striker, so I just have to obey him and put him in the striker position. Also, Isagi would be the captain of the team, as I feel like he solidified that spot after the U20 match pretty clearly. Moving on to the last player of the team, and Isagi's striker duo, is to no one's surprise Itoshi Rin. Now having Rin and Isagi up on the top already sounds like a dream come true, if you ask me, even though they have had their up and downs with each other. Especially after the U20 match, I still feel like, if they were to put that to the side, they would become one of the most fierce duos we've ever seen. With both of them having meta vision, they could play off each other easily, and it wouldn't be a question whether the team would score or not, but if who it would be that got to the ball first. Also having Sei and Rin play with each other could bring out some interesting plays and dynamics in my opinion. However, it might also be that Rin refuses to play with Sei as he praised Isagi instead of him, but for some reason I doubt that it would happen. I feel like I didn't cover Isagi's and Rin's strengths so much, but also on the flip side, I feel like it would just be repeating the obvious. As we both know how much of a powerhouse both Isagi and Rin is, both have the power to control their whole respective team in the Neo Egoist League, and together as a duo, they would become absolutely unstoppable. Now for the coach, I couldn't pick anyone else but the madman, Ego Jinpachi, as it's obvious that it has to be him that leads the Bluelock 11 to victory, as he knows them best, and he's able to take out their true strengths. Now then, for a quick recap of the team. So in the goal, we have Gagamaru, and then for our center backs we have both Aiku and Nico. For our right and left backs, we have Chigiri and Karasu, while in the defensive midfield, we have Rio. Moving up to the offensive side, we have Sei as an offensive midfielder, while on our wings we have both Bachira and Baru, leaving only the strikers left, which are of course Rin and Isagi. As you might have seen, I tried to make it as fun and offensive as possible, and I know that this formation might not be the most ideal, but that's what I'm going for and what I will stick with. However, I would love to hear how you would build your own Blue Lock team, so please leave it down in the comments. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you're at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.